3 days passed after the battle. The surviving pirates were locked in Daho's storage shed, secured with heavy chains and watched in shifts. Vera explained that they could be turned over to galactic authorities for a substantial bounty. The Kreth were wanted criminals across many systems. You could become wealthy, she told Daho as they stood together near her repaired ship. The bounty for Rothveen alone would buy you a better workshop, a better house, a better life. Daho shrugged. I like my workshop. It has everything I need. Vera shook her head. You are the strangest creature I have ever met. The ship was finally ready. Daho's improvised repairs would not last forever, but they would hold long enough for Vera to reach a proper repair station. The smartphone navigation system worked better than either of them expected. Alien technology and human stubbornness had merged into something new. Hana came to say goodbye. She hugged Vera carefully, mindful of the alien woman's still healing wound. Thank you, Hana said, for showing us that we are not alone in the universe, even if the universe is more dangerous than we imagined. Vera smiled. Thank you for stitching me back together. And for the soup. I will miss the soup. Junsi kept his distance, but he raised one hand in an awkward wave. Good luck out there. Try not to crash into any more rice fields. I will try, Vera said. Thank you, Junseek, for being brave when you were afraid. Junseek blushed deeply. I was not that scared. Yes, you were. That is what made it brave. Finally, Vera stood alone with Daho beside her ship. The morning sun painted the hills gold and green. Birds sang in the distant trees. It was a beautiful day on this small, primitive, wonderful world. I have thought about how to repay you, Vera said. I have thought about it constantly. Crystals, technology, star charts, my service, my body. You have refused everything. But I must give you something. I cannot leave with this debt unpaid. Daho was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Tell me about the stars. What? I have never seen them. Not really. Just points of light from this small world. Tell me what they are like. What is out there beyond our sky? Vera looked up, though the sun made the stars invisible now. Out there is wonder and terror, beauty and ugliness. Kindness is rare. Cruelty is common. But there are places where the light of 3 suns paints the clouds in colors that have no names. There are worlds made entirely of crystal, where the wind makes music that breaks hearts. There are species who communicate through pure emotion, who can share a lifetime of memory with a single touch. She looked back at Daho. And now I know there is Earth, a small world with strange creatures who help without demanding payment, who fight without hope of winning, who show kindness because they believe kindness matters. She reached into a pocket of her suit and pulled out a small device, silver and elegant. She pressed it into his hands. This is a communicator. It will work across any distance, through any barrier. If you ever need me, for anything, call. I will come. Daho looked at the device. Will you? Yes, I swear it on my people's honor. Wherever I am, whatever I am doing, I will come for you. She paused, then added more softly, You asked for nothing. So I give you everything. My word, my loyalty, my life if needed. This is the debt I choose to pay. Daho closed his fingers around the communicator. Thank you, Vera. No, thank you, Park Daho, for showing me that kindness is not weakness, that helping strangers is not foolish, that some people do good things simply because they are good. She turned and walked toward her ship. At the entrance, she stopped and looked back. I will make a report to the Merchant Guild about Earth, about humans. I will recommend that your world be marked as protected. No pirates, no slavers, no conquerors. Will that work? Maybe not forever, but it will buy you time. And perhaps time is enough. She climbed into her ship. The entrance sealed behind her. Daiho stepped back as the engines hummed to life. The ship rose slowly, gracefully, despite its patchwork repairs. Blue light glowed from its edges as it climbed into the morning sky. Ha-Na joined her brother, standing beside him as they watched the ship grow smaller. What did her report say? She asked. About us? She said humans are strange. That is fair. They watched until the ship was just a dot of light, then nothing at all. Far above Earth. Vera set her course for the nearest trade station. But before she engaged the faster-than-light drive, she composed her report to the guild. Her words would spread through the galaxy over the coming months. They would be read by merchants and pirates, soldiers and slaves, emperors and servants. They would change how the galaxy thought about the small blue world at the edge of explored space. The report said, humans are primitive but extremely dangerous. They fight without logic, protect without payment, and show kindness without expectation. Their technology is crude, but they adapt with creativity that defies standard models. Approach with extreme caution. They do not follow galactic rules. It concluded, this species does not understand that kindness is weakness. They do not believe that might makes right. They help strangers because they want to, not because they must. I do not know what this means for the galaxy, but I know it means something. Back on Earth, Daiho walked into his workshop. The pirate prisoners would need to be dealt with soon. Vera had left instructions for signaling galactic authorities. But for now, there was work to do. A customer had dropped off an old car yesterday. The engine needed rebuilding. The brakes needed replacing. It was ordinary work, simple and honest. Daiho picked up his tools and began. Outside, Hana sat on the porch with Junseek. They shared a bottle of cheap beer and watched the sky. Do you think she will come back? Junseek asked. Maybe, Hana said. The galaxy is big. Lots of things can happen. Your brother saved an alien princess, or whatever she was. That is pretty amazing. He saved a person who needed help. That is just who he is. They sat in comfortable silence as the morning became afternoon. Somewhere among the stars, Vera thought about a small workshop on a primitive world. About a man who fixed broken things because he could, who helped strangers because he wanted to, who fought without hope because giving up was not in his nature. She had traveled to many worlds. She had met many species. She had never met anyone like him. The galaxy was cold and dark and dangerous. But now she knew that somewhere in its vastness, there was a small blue planet where impossible things happened. Where a mechanic could fix an alien spaceship. Where kindness could defeat cruelty. Where strangers could become friends. Earth was small. Earth was primitive. But Earth was wonderful. And Vera knew, deep in her heart, that someday she would return. The pirate shuttle arrived at dawn. Daiho had not slept. He sat by the window of his workshop, watching the sky slowly turn from black to gray. His shotgun rested across his knees. Beside him, Vera sat wrapped in a blanket, her violet eyes fixed on the same sky. Hana had refused to leave. She sat in the corner, holding a veterinary tranquilizer gun loaded with enough sedative to drop a horse. Junseek paced nervously, a heavy wrench in his hands. You should hide, Vera said for the 10th time. The Kreth are dangerous. They have weapons you cannot imagine. They will kill you without hesitation. Then we will not give them the chance to hesitate, Daiho said. Why are you doing this? I am not worth dying for. Daiho turned to look at her. In the gray light of dawn, her silver skin seemed to glow softly. She was beautiful, yes, but that was not why he was willing to fight. You came to my world, he said simply. You crashed in my field. You are my responsibility now. That is not logical. No, it is human. The shuttle appeared over the eastern hills. It was larger than Vera's damaged ship, dark and angular and ugly. It descended slowly, landing in the open area between the workshop and the road. 4 figures emerged. 3 were Kreth soldiers, reptilian creatures with thick scales and cold eyes. They carried weapons that glowed with deadly energy. The 4th was their captain. Rothveen was taller than his soldiers, his scales darker, his posture arrogant. He wore armor decorated with symbols of his victories. His eyes swept across the small workshop with obvious contempt. "Silthani female," he called out, his voice harsh and rasping. "We know you are here. Come out peacefully, and we will only take you. Resist, and everyone on this primitive mudpool will suffer." Inside the workshop, Vera stood. Her face was calm, but Deho could see her hands shaking. "I should go to them," she said. "If I surrender, they might leave you alone." "They might," Deho agreed. "Or they might kill us anyway. Pirates are not known for keeping promises." He stood and walked toward the door. "What are you doing?" Vera hissed. "Talking." "Stay here." Deho stepped outside, his shotgun held casually at his side. The morning air was cold against his face. He walked toward the pirates slowly, stopping about 10 meters away. Rothveen studied him with obvious amusement. "A native. How interesting. Tell me, Primitive, do you understand what is happening here?" "You want the woman in my workshop," Deho said. "I am here to tell you that she is not available." The pirates exchanged looks. One of them laughed, a harsh barking sound. "Not available?" Rothveen repeated. "She is cargo, property. She belongs to whoever can take her. That is the law of the galaxy. This is not the galaxy. This is Earth, my workshop. My rules." Rothveen's amusement faded. "You cannot possibly be this stupid. We have weapons that could level this entire region. Your primitive firearms are toys compared to our technology. Step aside or die. Those are your only choices." Deho did not move. "Let me offer you a different choice. Leave this planet peacefully, and I will not report your presence to Earth's defense forces. Earth has no defense forces capable of threatening us. Are you certain of that?" For just a moment, doubt flickered in Rothveen's cold eyes. Earth was an uncontacted world, primitive and isolated. But the universe was full of surprises. What if this human knew something he did not? Then Rothveen shook his head. "You are bluffing. Take him." The 3 soldiers moved forward, weapons raised. What happened next was very fast. June-SIK burst through the side door of the workshop, screaming at the top of his lungs. The sound was so sudden, so unexpected, that all 4 pirates turned toward him instinctively. Deho fired. The shotgun blast caught the nearest soldier in the chest. The alien staggered backward, scales cracked and bleeding. Not dead, but badly hurt. Hana appeared in the workshop window. Her tranquilizer gun hissed twice. 2 darts found their marks in exposed flesh, one in the soldier's neck, one in another's arm. The pirates' energy weapons fired wildly, burning holes in walls and ground. But they were disoriented, surprised. They had expected easy prey, not a coordinated attack. Deho charged forward. He swung his shotgun like a club, catching a stumbling soldier across the face. The alien went down hard. June-SIK reached the second drugged soldier just as the tranquilizer took effect. The alien collapsed, and June-Sik hit him anyway, his heavy wrench crashing against scaled armor. Rothveen roared with fury. He raised his weapon, aiming directly at Deho. Vera appeared from nowhere. She had grabbed one of the fallen soldier's weapons, her silver hands wrapped around the unfamiliar grip. She fired. The energy bolt hit Rothveen in the shoulder, spinning him around. His own shot went wide, burning a black streak across the workshop wall. Deho did not hesitate. He closed the distance in 3 steps and drove his shoulder into the wounded captain. They went down together, rolling in the dirt. Rothveen was stronger, but he was hurt and surprised. Daho fought like a wild animal. All instinct and fury. June-Sik arrived with his wrench. One solid blow to the back of Rothvee's head, and the pirate captain went limp. Silence fell over the battlefield. 4 pirates lay on the ground. 2 were unconscious from the tranquilizers. 1 was badly wounded and groaning. Rothveen was knocked out cold, blue-green blood seeping from his shoulder and the back of his head. Daho stood over them, breathing hard. His face was scratched, his knuckles bloody. His shoulder burned where an energy bolt had grazed him. Hanar ran out of the workshop. "Is everyone okay? Anyone hurt badly?" "I am fine," Junsik said, though his voice was shaking. "I cannot believe that worked." Vera walked forward slowly. She still held the alien weapon, her hands trembling now. She looked at the fallen pirates, then at the 3 humans who had just defeated them. "This is impossible," she whispered. "The Kreth are feared throughout the sector. They have conquered worlds. They have enslaved millions. And you beat them with primitive weapons and a veterinary tranquilizer." Then wiped blood from his face. "They expected us to be afraid. They expected us to surrender or die easily. They did not expect us to fight back. No one fights the Kreth. No one wins. We did." Vera stared at him. This human, this simple mechanic from a primitive world, had just risked his life to protect her. He had fought trained pirates with nothing but a shotgun and courage. And he had won. Why? She asked, her voice barely audible. "Why would you do this? You could have died. You almost died. For me, a stranger. An alien. Why?" Daho looked at her. Then he looked at his sister and his friend, standing among the fallen enemies they had defeated together. "Because nobody takes anyone from my shop," he said. "Not without a fight." Vera felt something break inside her. Some wall she had built over years of survival, years of trading herself for safety, years of believing that kindness was weakness and trust was foolish. For the first time since she was a child, she began to cry. Silver tears ran down her silver cheeks as she stood among the defeated pirates, surrounded by the strange, impossible humans who had saved her for no reason except that it was the right thing to do. 1 week passed. Vera grew stronger each day. Her wound healed faster than any human wound would heal. Hana checked it every morning and shook her head in amazement. "Your body repairs itself beautifully," she said. "I wish my patients healed this well." Vera spent her days in the workshop, watching Daho work on her ship's systems. Sometimes she helped, explaining what each component did. Sometimes she just observed, trying to understand this strange human and his strange ways. In the evenings, Hana would visit after closing her veterinary clinic. She brought food and company and endless questions about the galaxy. "Tell me about other species," Hana said one night as they sat together eating rice and soup. "What are they like?" Vera considered the question. There are thousands of species in the known galaxy. Some are kind. Most are not. The strong take from the weak. The beautiful are bought and sold. The clever survive. The foolish die. That sounds terrible. It is simply how things are. Vera's violet eyes grew distant. "My people, the Silthani, are considered valuable. Our appearance pleases many other species. This is not a blessing. It means we are hunted, traded, collected. I became a courier because it gave me freedom to move, to travel. But even then, danger follows." Hana put down her spoon. "Those pirates who attacked you, they wanted to sell you?" "Yes, Kreth raiders specialize in capturing Silthani. There is a market for us among the wealthy. Private collectors, pleasure houses, trophy displays. Vera spoke without emotion, as if describing weather. I have been captured twice before. Both times, I escaped. Both times, I paid a price for my freedom. The room went quiet. Deho had stopped working on the engine part in his hands. His jaw was tight. What kind of price? He asked. Vera met his eyes. The kind that leaves no marks on the body but many marks on the soul. No one spoke for a long moment. In the galaxy, Vera continued, kindness is rare. Help always costs something. When you found me, I expected you to demand payment. Crystals, technology, service, my body. These are the currencies I know. Instead, you gave me water and a blanket. You fixed my wound. You are fixing my ship. And you asked for nothing. She shook her head slowly. I have traveled to many worlds. I have met many species. I have never met anyone like you humans. You do not make sense to me. Hana smiled sadly. We do not always make sense to ourselves. Why do you help strangers? Vera asked. What do you gain? Deho thought about this question. He wiped his hands on a rag, taking his time. When I was young, he said finally, my father was a fisherman. One winter, his boat broke down far from shore. He would have died in the cold water. But another fisherman, a man my father had never met, saw his signal fire. This stranger risked his own boat in dangerous waves to save my father. What did your father pay him? Nothing. The stranger refused payment. He said that the sea takes enough lives, and any fisherman who can save another should do so. My father came home safely. He told me that story many times. Vera frowned. But what did the stranger gain from this risk? He gained nothing. That is the point. Deho set down his rag. Humans help each other because we know that someday we might need help too. We cannot always be strong. We cannot always be safe. So we take care of each other, even strangers, because that is how we survive. But I am not human. I cannot help you in return. That does not matter. Vera was silent for a long moment. Then she said, very quietly, I do not understand this. But I think I want to understand. The next few days were busy. Deho made good progress on the ship's systems. Many parts were damaged beyond repair, but he found ways to work around them. Alien technology met human stubbornness, and somehow they fit together. Vera learned to help in small ways. She held tools, explained systems, offered advice. Working beside Deho, she saw how his mind worked. He did not understand the science behind her ship's technology, but he understood how things connected, how power flowed, how systems needed each other to function. You think like water, she told him one afternoon. You find the path with least resistance. You flow around problems instead of fighting them directly. Deho laughed. I think like a mechanic. When you cannot afford new parts, you learn to improvise. Junseek visited often, helping with heavy lifting and keeping watch. He was still nervous around Vera, but his fear had slowly turned into awkward curiosity. So, he said one day, standing as far from Vera as the small workshop allowed, do all aliens look like you? You know, beautiful and silver and... He made a vague gesture. Vera raised an eyebrow. No, most species look nothing like humans or Sylphani. Some have scales. Some have shells. Some have no solid form at all. I am told that humans and Sylphani are unusually similar in shape, which is strange, because our worlds are very far apart. Maybe we are related somehow, Hana suggested. Ancient aliens visiting Earth, spreading DNA across the galaxy? Vera shook her head. I have heard this theory. There is no evidence for it. Sometimes, the universe simply creates similar shapes in different places. It is coincidence, not design. That is less romantic, Hana said. the universe is rarely romantic. On the seventh day, Vara was strong enough to walk to the crash site. She stood beside Deho as he worked inside her ship, making final connections. "The navigation system is beyond repair," he said, "but I think I can connect it to this." He held up a smartphone. "It has maps. Basic ones, but maybe enough to get you started." Vera stared at the small device. "You want to navigate through space using a primitive communication tool? It is worth trying." She wanted to tell him this was impossible. That spacecraft navigation required complex star charts and quantum calculations and systems far beyond human understanding. Instead, she watched as he connected wires and cables, linking her ship's systems to his tiny Earth device. The smartphone screen flickered. Strange symbols appeared, mixing with familiar ones. "There," Deho said. "It is reading your ship's database. Now it knows where you are. And look, you can input destination coordinates here." Vera touched the screen carefully. It responded. Her ship's damaged computer had merged with this simple human tool, creating something new. Something that should not work, but somehow did. "This is impossible," she whispered. "My sister says that word a lot around me." They walked back to the workshop as the sun set. The sky turned orange and pink above the hills. Vera looked at this small world with new eyes. Earth was primitive, yes. Limited, yes. But there was beauty here. Peace. Something she had rarely found among the stars. She was about to say something when a sound cut through the quiet evening. A high, sharp beeping from inside the workshop. Vera's face went pale. "My emergency beacon. Someone has locked onto its signal." They ran inside. The small device on her collar was flashing red, making that terrible sound. "Can you turn it off?" Deho asked. "It is too late. They already have my position." Vera's hands were shaking. "The pirates. They found me. They are coming." Deho looked at her, at the fear in her violet eyes, at the trembling of her silver hands. Then he walked to the back of his workshop, opened a locked cabinet, and pulled out a shotgun. "Then we will be ready for them," he said. Deho did not sleep that night. He sat in his chair, watching the alien woman rest on his old couch. Her breathing had become steady and calm. The silver glow of her skin seemed softer in the dim light of his workshop. When morning came, he made a phone call. His sister Hannah answered on the third ring. Her voice was thick with sleep. "Do you know what time it is?" "I need you to come to my shop," Deho said. "Now, and bring your medical kit. The big one. What happened? Are you hurt?" "No, just come. And Hannah, do not tell anyone." She arrived within the hour, driving her small white car too fast down the dirt road. Hannah was 28 years old, a veterinarian with a sharp tongue and sharper eyes. She walked into the workshop already complaining about the early hour. Then she saw Vera sitting on the couch, and her complaints died in her throat. "What?" Hannah said slowly. "Is that?" "She crashed in grandfather's rice field last night," Deho said. "She is hurt. I thought maybe you could help." Hannah stared at her brother, then at the alien, then back at her brother. "You found an alien. A real alien. And your first thought was to call your veterinarian sister? You are the only doctor I trust." Hannah opened her mouth to argue. Then she closed it. She looked at Vera again. The alien woman was awake now, watching them with those violet eyes. The bandage on her side showed traces of blue blood. "Fine," Hannah said. "But you owe me breakfast. A big one." Examining Vera was strange, but not impossible. Hannah worked carefully, checking the wound, feeling for broken bones, looking for signs of infection. Vera held very still, though her eyes never stopped watching. "Her biology is different," Hannah said as she worked. but not completely different. She has bones, muscles, organs in roughly the right places. The wound is clean. Your bandaging was not terrible. Thank you, Deho said dryly. She needs stitches. And antibiotics, maybe. I do not know if earth medicine will work on her. A crackling sound came from Vera's collar. The small device there sparked and hummed. Then, to their shock, Vera spoke. Medicine works. Her voice was halting, the words strange in her mouth. Translator, repairing, slow. Hana nearly dropped her medical kit. She speaks Korean? The machine translates, Vera said. Each word came easier than the last. Thank you for helping. I am called Vera. Deho knelt beside the couch. I am Deho. This is my sister, Hana. What happened to you, Vera? Why did you crash? Vera's violet eyes darkened with memory. I am a courier. I carry messages and small goods between star systems for the Merchant Guild. 3 days ago, pirates attacked my ship. Kreth raiders. They wanted my cargo and... She paused, choosing her words. And me. Silthani females are valued in certain markets. Hana's face went pale. Markets? You mean... Slavery, Vera said simply. It is common in the galaxy. I escaped, but my ship was badly damaged. Your world was the closest planet. I had no choice but to crash here. Silence filled the workshop. Deho and Hana exchanged looks. The pirates, Deho said. Will they follow you? I do not know. Maybe, if they tracked my emergency beacon. Vera's hands tightened on the blanket. I should leave. I should not bring danger to you. You have been kind. I do not want you to suffer for that kindness. She tried to stand. Her legs gave out immediately, and Deho caught her before she hit the floor. You are not going anywhere, he said firmly. Not until you can walk properly. Not until your ship is fixed. Vera stared at him. You would fix my ship? A machine from another world? Deho shrugged. I fix cars. How different can it be? Hana groaned. Very different, brother. Very, very different. But Vera was looking at Deho with that strange expression again. Confusion mixed with something else. You would do this. Fix my ship. Help me escape. Why? Because you need help. That is not a reason. What do you want in return? Deho thought about this. I want to see an alien spaceship engine. I have never seen one before. It sounds interesting. Vera shook her head slowly. You are strange. Your whole species must be strange. In the galaxy, no one helps without payment. No one risks themselves for strangers. What do humans want? Every species wants something. Hana finished stitching Vera's wound. Humans want many things. But my brother mostly wants to fix things. He is boring that way. Despite everything, Vera almost smiled. Later that day, Deho called his old friend Beak Junsik. They had served in the military together, years ago. Junsik was a truck driver now, a big man with nervous eyes and a loyal heart. When Junsik arrived and saw Vera, he did not scream. But he came very close. What is that? He whispered, pressing himself against the wall. Her name is Vera. She needs help. I need you to help me move parts from her crashed ship. Junsik looked at his friend, then at the alien, then at his friend again. Deho, that is an alien. An actual alien. Yes, from space. Yes. And you want me to help you fix her spaceship? Yes. Junsik was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed heavily. You still owe me money from that poker game last year. I will add this to the debt. Fine, but I am not touching anything that glows. They spent the afternoon at the crash site. Vera had given them a list of parts she needed, things she could not carry herself. The ship's interior was strange and beautiful, full of curved surfaces and lights that responded to touch. Junseek jumped at every shadow, but he worked hard without complaint. Daeho found the engine compartment. Even damaged, it was beautiful. He did not understand half of what he was looking at, but his mechanic's instincts could see the logic beneath the alien design. Power flowed through these conduits. These connectors joined those systems. Different technology, same basic principles. "I can fix this," he said quietly to himself. "It will take time, but I can fix this." When they returned to the workshop, loaded with alien components, Vera was waiting. Hana had helped her sit up properly. Some color had returned to her silver skin. She watched as they unloaded the parts. When Daeho placed the damaged power core on his workbench, she spoke. "That is the heart of my ship. Without it, nothing else works." Daeho examined the core. It was cracked, leaking some kind of energy that made his fingers tingle. "What does it need?" "A replacement crystal, which I do not have. Without it, the core cannot hold power. What if we give it power a different way?" Vera tilted her head. "What do you mean?" Daeho looked around his workshop. Old car batteries lined one shelf. Copper wire hung in coils from the ceiling. He was already seeing possibilities, connections, improvised solutions. "Let me try something," he said. For the next several hours, he worked. Vera watched from the couch, answering his questions when he asked them. Hana brought food and made sure Vera ate. Junseek sat in the corner, still nervous, but unwilling to leave his friend Dot as night fell. Daeho connected his improvised power system to the alien core. Dot, it hummed, flickered, then glowed with steady blue light. Vera's eyes went wide. "That should not work, but it does. You used primitive technology to bypass a quantum crystalline matrix." Daeho wiped grease from his hands. "I used car batteries and copper wire to make electricity go where it needed to go." Vera stared at the glowing core. Then she stared at Daeho. "Our engineers would never think of this. They would say it is impossible. They would demand proper parts, proper tools, proper methods." Daeho smiled slightly. "I fix old cars nobody wants. You learn to make things work with what you have." In that moment, Vera began to understand something important. Humans were not advanced. Their technology was crude, their world small, their knowledge limited. But they thought differently. They solved problems in ways other species never considered. Maybe, she thought, that made them more dangerous than anyone realized. Or maybe it made them something else entirely. The night was quiet when Park Daeho saw the light fall from the sky. He was sitting on the small wooden porch of his house, drinking cheap beer and looking at nothing in particular. His repair shop was closed for the day. The old cars waiting for his attention sat silent in the yard. The smell of engine oil still clung to his hands, even after washing them 3 times. At first, he thought it was a shooting star. But shooting stars did not change direction. This light moved like something alive. It curved through the darkness, leaving a trail of blue fire behind it. Then it dropped fast, too fast, and disappeared behind the hills where his grandfather's old rice field sat empty and forgotten. The ground shook. Not much, but enough to make his beer bottle rattle against the wooden floor. Daeho sat very still for a long moment. He was 34 years old. He had served in the military. He had seen strange things before, but nothing like this. Common sense told him to stay inside. Call someone. Wait until morning. Instead, he grabbed his flashlight and his old hunting jacket and walked toward the rice field. The walk took 15 minutes. The night air was cold and the path was rough. Daeho's boots crunched against dry grass and broken stones. His flashlight cut a weak circle of yellow through the darkness. He smelled it before he saw it. A sharp, burning smell like metal and electricity mixed together. The air felt strange, heavy and warm despite the cold night dawn. Then he reached the top of the small hill and looked down into the field. The spacecraft was not very large, maybe the size of a delivery truck, but shaped like a curved blade. Its surface was dark gray, now scratched and dented from the crash. Blue lights flickered along its edges, dying slowly like the last breaths of a wounded animal. Daiho stood frozen. His mind tried to understand what his eyes were seeing. A spacecraft. An actual spacecraft. In his grandfather's rice field, he should run. He should call the police. He should do anything except walk closer. But something moved inside the damaged ship. A weak sound reached his ears. A voice, maybe. Or a cry of pain. Daiho walked down into the field. The spacecraft had torn a long scar through the earth. Dirt and broken plants lay scattered everywhere. As he got closer, he saw that part of the ship's side had broken open. Smoke rose from the gap. He pointed his flashlight inside. The alien woman lay against the far wall, her body twisted in pain. She was tall, much taller than any human woman. Her skin was silver, smooth and pale like moonlight on water. Her hair was long and white, spread around her face like a cloud. Her eyes, when she opened them, were violet, bright and strange and beautiful. She wore a tight suit of some dark material, now torn in several places. Blue blood seeped from a wound on her side. Her breathing was fast and shallow. Those violet eyes found Daiho. They widened with fear. She spoke words he could not understand. Her voice was soft and musical, but filled with panic. She raised one hand, maybe to defend herself, maybe to beg for mercy. Daiho did not move. He kept his hands visible, empty except for the flashlight. "I am not going to hurt you," he said slowly. He knew she could not understand him, but he hoped his tone would help. "You are injured. I want to help." The alien woman watched him with those strange eyes. She said something else in her language. A small device on her collar sparked and crackled, broken. Daiho looked at the wound on her side. It was bad. Not terrible, but bad enough that she could not stay here. He pointed at himself. "Daiho." He said his name clearly. Then he pointed at her wound and mimed bandaging it. He pointed outside, toward his house. The alien woman understood. Or at least, she understood enough. She looked at him for a long moment, reading something in his face. Then, slowly, painfully, she nodded. Getting her out of the ship was difficult. She was tall and weak from blood loss. Daiho had to support most of her weight as they climbed through the broken opening. Her silver skin was cool to the touch, almost cold. She smelled like flowers and rain and something else, something not from Earth. The walk back to his house took twice as long. Several times, she almost fell. Each time, Daiho caught her and helped her continue. By the time they reached his workshop, she was barely conscious. Daiho laid her down on the old couch in his office. He grabbed his first aid kit, the good one he kept for serious accidents. The wound on her side looked cleaner now, away from the smoke and darkness of the ship. The blue blood had a strange texture, thicker than human blood. He cleaned the wound as gently as he could. She winced but did not cry out. Her eyes followed his hands, watching every movement. When he finished bandaging her, she reached into a pocket of her suit. She pulled out a small handful of crystals, each one glowing with soft inner light. She held them out to him. Payment. She was offering payment. Daiho shook his head and pushed her hand gently back. The alien woman looked confused. She reached up to her collar, touched a small piece of jewelry there. She gestured at it, then at herself, then at him. Her meaning was clear even without words. She was offering herself. Daiho felt his face grow hot. He shook his head again, more firmly this time. No, No payment. You are hurt. I help. That is all. She did not understand his words, but she understood his refusal. Her confusion grew deeper. She said something in her language, a question maybe. Deho went to his small kitchen. He came back with a glass of water and an old blanket. He gave her the water. She drank it carefully, still watching him. He placed the blanket over her dot. Then he sat down in the chair across from her. Rest, he said. Tomorrow we will figure this out. The alien woman looked at him for a long time. In her violet eyes, he saw something he did not expect. Not fear anymore. Something else. Confusion, yes. But also curiosity. She had crashed on a strange world. She was injured and alone. A creature she had never seen before had found her. And instead of taking advantage of her weakness, he had helped her. Asked for nothing. Demanded nothing. In her experience, this did not happen. Every species in the galaxy wanted something. Every act of kindness had a price. But this human, this simple man in dirty work clothes, had just given her water and a blanket and asked for nothing in return. Vera closed her eyes. For the first time since the pirates attacked her ship, she felt something close to safe. She did not understand humans yet, but she was beginning to think they might be very strange creatures indeed.